I've been following all of your teachings. I do this focus wheel every morning. And the last thing I did this focus wheel for was about the money. I know that I have a good relationship with money, but I do this focus wheel every morning, me and my wife actually, and we did it for the lottery last time. I know that one day I'm gonna win, I'm gonna be prosperous, and I've been believing in that, but my question is, why is it not coming now? Or like, am I putting some resistance onto that, or?
Let's see if we can figure this out. So, how many lottery tickets did you buy?
Okay, I got
how many tickets did
40,
you buy?
45.
45 tickets. And how many lottery tickets were in the mix? How many billions of lottery tickets were in the mix? So, do you have any feeling of odds or statistics in your vibration?
I mean, I was an engineer, so I know about that.
Oh, really? Oh, really? So this very pragmatic engineer who knows the relationship between 44 and 4 billion.
But I want to follow your teaching. I don't want to think about that statistics.
Well, we want that too. We want that too. And we know that when you are thinking about it in the way that we know, rather than in this way, that then those thoughts will turn to things for you. But that's not the case yet. You're still thinking this way. Mm-hmm. So you haven't lined up with it. If you're going to buy a lottery ticket, you got to line up with universal assistance, not with the statistics or the odds, you see. Do any of you ever buy a lottery ticket and say, this is a sure thing for me? Or are you at best hopeful? You got to go beyond hopeful. And you know what's beyond hopeful? Knowing or not caring at all.
Knowing and not caring at all.
Knowing that you're going to win, or it being fun and a game and it not really mattering. Because those statistics are active in your vibrational experience. So this was a discouraging conversation for so many of you. But what we're really saying to you is you can't attract outside of your beliefs. You just can't attract outside of your beliefs. And so you got to find a way of lining up with your desire, and then your belief is not opposing it. And then we've been talking to you all day today, all day yesterday, all day, any day that you're willing to gather and listen to us about how easy it is for you to win the vibrational lottery. And the vibrational lottery means you've hooked up with the energy that creates worlds. And specifically, anything that you want is focused upon by source, and it is a sure thing that it will come to be. Not a statistical odds against you. It is a sure thing that it will come to be. But it does require looking at life in a vibrational way. It does require understanding the way things work. What do you think the odds would be if you were to go to the edge of the cliff? There's one over here. Esther likes to stand there and watch the hang gliders just float away. What would the odds be if you didn't have your contraption and you didn't have a parachute and you didn't have an airplane? What would be the odds if you just stepped off the cliff of your just floating away like the others? What would be the odds? 0. Because law of attraction will do the thing that it always does. What we are wanting you to understand is that law of attraction is working for your good fortune. It is working for your prosperity, not against it. But your own beliefs, almost everyone, have been working against your own prosperity. And you can tell by the way you feel when you think about things like that, and you can tell by the way the words sound and feel as you speak them. In other words, it just sounds like the most incredible thing. Everybody's talking about the couple that won, and they're yearning to be that, but it seems like such an anomaly. It seems like such an incredible, iffy, chancy, risky anomaly. But this stuff that we're talking about is not risky and it's not chancy. It's sure. Once something has bubbled up and become a vibrational desire that you have realized, it is a sure thing. It's already so far along its progression that for it not to occur is ridiculous. And the only reason that it doesn't occur is because you have these habits of thought, and the only reason that you're willing to continue to project these habits of thought that are contrary to the desires that you hold is because you're willing to put up with not feeling so good. Yearning doesn't bother you. Well, you should be soaring. Yearning should bother you. It should feel awful to you to only feel hopeful. Hope in relationship to pure knowing, oh, no comparison whatsoever. But you've just become accustomed to not feeling so good, being a little angry, being a little ornery, being a little depressed, being a little discouraged, being a little mad, being a little blameful, being a little guilty. In other words, you've felt so many of those things in response to the way that you're thinking that you've trained yourself into unnatural acceptance of unnatural vibration. So that when somebody wins the lottery, you go, oh, wow, what an amazing, remarkable freak of nature that is. When everybody is winning the lottery all day, every day, do you know that your Earth is spinning in its orbit in perfect proximity to other planets? That is such a good thing. And it's not accidental, and it is for you. You won big time lottery that your planet is stable. Do you realize how many things are working for you? Your physical body won the lottery, won the lottery, won the lottery. And so as you're appreciating and basking and enjoying and practicing those thoughts that feel good, then those thoughts that have felt natural to you, those ornery thoughts that are blocking your well-being, they'll stop feeling so natural. They'll start feeling like what they are, the reason that things aren't quickly moving for you, you see. And after you get a handle on this and you start predominantly feeling good and you find yourself choking on words that you used to say often because they're really out of whack with who you really are, and you start allowing those magnificent vibrational thoughts to turn to magnificent see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it things, and others will look at you and they will call you lucky. They will call you a freak of nature. They will say, how is it that everything nice keeps coming to you? It's magical, or it's lucky, or it's freakishly lucky. And you'll just say, no, it's not. It's natural. It's who I am. It's the vibration that I emit. It's a natural, law-based experience. It's me projecting something that the universe must match.
Here's the first half of the question. Have future lives been lived?
Future lives have been lived in a vibrational stance. In other words, your inner being is living your future life vibrationally, and you are in the process of warming up to it until you match the vibration so that it can manifest. How are thoughts turning to things? Thoughts are turning to things because of your realization of the vibration that causes you to translate it into things. You think that this is reality, but what it is your vibrational interpretation. And so because you happen to be vibrationally interpreting similarly, you call it a reality. And we don't disagree with that. The more people who are vibrationally interpreting similarly, the more that reality is reality. That's why scientists want everybody to agree on what they're seeing before they allow themselves to move forward. Yeah. But there is a vibrational reality that is being lived by your inner being. And you are being given constant guidance so that you can realize the vibrational components of that so that you can translate them into the more tangible, because it is more satisfying. Isn't the leading edge more satisfying? Don't you want to see it and hear it and smell it and taste it and touch it? Don't you want your dreams to become reality? Don't you want to walk on that beach that you've envisioned and feel that water on your feet? Don't you want the visceral experience of it? Your inner being does and is having it.
Yeah, I wanted the Egg McMuffin I had on the road trip here, which I felt so guilty for, and I want to not feel that guilt, but I wanted the pleasure, so I get that. So,
a little aside there.
So the future lives that have been lived vibrationally, if I'm shifting my...
The future that is being lived vibrationally. In other words, it's future, but it is so vibrationally present that you could have it right now. That's that quantum leap that you were reaching for earlier. That's that quantum leap. That's the shift. That's the vibrational, emotional shift that is necessary. Once it has been given vibrational birth, the ability for it to be a physical, see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it reality is real. You've just got to get to that place that you can translate it into the impulse.
So as my now changes, so does my future change, because it's all
Yes, even if in your now you're exploring unwanted contrast, your future is benefiting by it. Because when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want.
So stories of future and stories of past are the same, kind of.
Give us more.
Let's say
all of your power is here and now. Let's just start there. Doesn't matter if you're exploring the past or what you call the future, you're doing it right here and now. The only question that you really want to ask is my exploration of whatever identical with the exploration that my source is having, or am I deviating from that source perspective? And as you feel your way into your source perspective, then what you're calling vibrational reality then becomes, boom, physical reality, where other people can see it too.
I was awake all night last night seeing myself on this chair, so thank you.
Did more happen after you got here?
It's happening. Well, it's a pleasure to be here and among everybody else in this room. I have been practicing the law of attraction and being in the vortex since I was 5 years old, but not knowing what it's called. I have gotten my family through war and poverty and traveling through different continents and experiencing matters of life and death, and by just using the power of my mind and thoughts and where I envisioned us being and living, and so here we are in the beautiful La Jolla. My question really is, I come here with the intention of strengthening my practice of deliberate creation or co-creation. I'm a student of life, as I always have been and will be, and I also teach in a form of a coach to others. I tend to hear this from a lot of people saying that, well, this law of attraction is great, being in the vortex, raising your vibrational frequency, this works, I get it, I see it. But I look around, and this is not my question, this is a question collectively from what I've been receiving, that what about those that have no idea about the law of attraction, don't even think about how things work, but yet they get everything they want? They have the husband, the money, the this.
You don't have to know what makes the lights come on as long as you can find the switch somewhere. You don't have to know about electricity. You don't have to understand where it comes from. So those are people who have discovered early that they like to feel good, who gravitate toward the thoughts that do feel good. They've found that criticism feels awful, so they don't do it. And they found that compliments feel good, and so they do. They found that self-deprecation does not feel good, and so they don't do it. They found that being proud of themselves feels good, so they do it. In other words, you don't have to know about the laws of the universe. You were all born with this guidance system. It's such an interesting thing that when you're in sync with how source feels about whatever it is you're focused upon, it feels wonderful to you. And when you're focused in opposition to it, it feels awful to you. And isn't that just the most natural guidance in the world? Is it really necessary that we talk about all the laws? Is it really necessary that we put it into all of these steps? The reason that we're doing that is because we're trying to help you to forget all of the stuff you've picked up along your physical trail that isn't serving you. But the little ones are born knowing it. They know that they're good until you try to teach them otherwise. They know that they're appropriate until you try to make them naughty. They know that life will be good for them until you begin warning them about everything. They know that they are revered by all that is good until you try to convince them otherwise. And so no one needs to hear this in the way that we are laying it out. We're just talking to those of you who've talked yourself out of knowing it.